Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Around 150 NFL players across the league took a stand by taking a knee. Alongside them, coaches and owners locked arms in a show of defiance after President Donald Trump called for players who had peacefully exercised their First Amendment rights to be fired.
We were upset that he would imply that we can exercise our First Amendment rights as players. We were upset that he would imply that we should be fired for exercising those rights.
Following Trump's outburst, the NFL responded with Commissioner Roger Goodell stating, "Divisive comments like these demonstrate an unfortunate lack of respect for the NFL, our great game, and all of our players." At a time when Trump is already under fire for his controversial language, his tactics veer beyond the political arena and onto the sports fields. He's been quick to condemn players for exercising their right to free speech, while it was only after a backlash that he denounced the white supremacists in Charlottesville, and it's only caused more division.
This guy that we've put in charge has tried to divide us once again. And now it's even hitting more home for me now, even more, because he's now using sports as the platform to try to divide us.
I didn't want to, be applauded for an accomplishment on the court when, the guy that would be doing the patting on the back is somebody that doesn't, I don't think, respects the majority of Americans in this country.
It was the weekend when athletes, coaches and owners came together to comment on the social direction of their country. And at the center of it all is the man who sparked the movement. Former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick put one knee to the ground to protest against police brutality and racial inequality. But it's thought that he's currently paying the price for his protest, with accusations of being blackballed by the league. But following the recent unity on show from the NFL, could all of that change?
There are certainly a number of questions that the NFL will be faced with. So to hear more on what's happening on the ground in the US, we can speak with political analyst Allen Linton. Now, Allen, it would seem as though Donald Trump is trying to put the focus on himself. However, it's really important that we remember what the actual core problem is, the fact that they're protesting police brutality and racial inequality. Now, that said, as a lot of these protests continue to pick up speed, is that going to force society to talk about these issues and to actually do something about it?
One would hope that it does. A lot of people oftentimes look at sports as a place to get away from politics and injustice, but these athletes, which have to be commended for using their platform for doing this, are putting the issues of racial inequality, injustice throughout society, and divisiveness from the White House on Front Street. And so I think that the goal is that where you may not be able to get people to talk about these issues watching the news or reading the newspaper, that they come together in one place and that they will be forced to have to deal with the fact that the people that they like and cheer on and they root for are also human beings, not just athletes, that have social issues and opinions, political opinions. And really, in this country that says that we're united and says that we're together, there are some real tension and divisive nature and rhetoric that starts from the top and trickles its way down, not just to athletes, but to people every day.
Now, talking specifically about the sport, has Trump ironically actually united rather than divided the NFL, because he saw a lot of players come out and make more of a stance? Even his so-called friends, some of the NFL owners, like Robert Kraft, who donated $1 million to his election campaign, even they've come out now against him as well.
Well, there's no doubt that Trump really did create a total pushback from the NFL. And I think the one thing to really focus on here is before the protests were focused on the players, and you could do the dividing up between players, some that supported the protests, some that don't, and the coaches and owners. But when Donald Trump made his remarks on Friday in Alabama, he really put the entire league on notice, from the commissioner to the owners to the players, and it naturally brought back a wave of response. it manifested itself in this idea around unity, interlocking arms. You saw NFL owners come down from the owner's box to stand with their players. And so I don't think he ever could have imagined that he would get so much pushback in a sport that, frankly, is well connected, and the idea of patriotism is interlocked into the fabric of the sport. What he got was basically a wave of pushback against the entire statement about what NFL players can do and what Americans, frankly, can do.
And very quickly, Allen, about Colin Kaepernick, do you think that finally he will get a chance to be employed again?
One would hope so, but I have my doubts. You know, he started this protest over 13 months ago, well before President Trump was the president of the United States. And it was a clear, concerted effort that blackballed him. I'm still skeptical that someone at the quarterback position, held in different regard, maybe even higher regard, is going to get a chance. And I think that's the real shame.
Well, Allen, thank you very much for weighing in on us. Now, earlier, we also spoke to North American sports journalist Ardo Jal. Now, he believes that Donald Trump is targeting his fan base with his remarks, and that in actuality, the ongoing players' protest has nothing to do with the country's flag nor anthem.
Well, a lot of people are thinking that this is, quote unquote, the red meat that the president is feeding his most fervent fan base. To say things like this, divisive comments that many people would point to, certainly rallies his biggest fan base. If these are the sort of comments that will rally the troops, so to speak, or make them ingratiated towards the president, then certainly you can assume that it will continue. And unfortunately, these comments come at the expense of dividing the country. Steve Kerr wrote a really good piece for Sports Illustrated saying that the president's words shouldn't divide the country, they should unite the country. The wording that is being used now among many circles to describe what happened on Sunday is flag protest, anthem protest. And I think that that terminology is a little bit dangerous, because all, if not most of all those players that took a knee or were arm in arm or didn't come out to the field for the national anthem on Sunday, they were not protesting the anthem. They were not protesting the flag. They were, in fact, protesting divisive words. They were protesting white supremacy. An interesting thing to note here is that back in 2009, this is based on a 2015 report, including Senator John McCain. He and another senator worked together on a report that found that the Department of Defense paid millions of dollars to sports leagues like the NFL for paid patriotism. And that included, starting in 2009, NFL players standing for the national anthem on the field. Before that, this ritual did not happen. And so there was money being involved here in terms of the paid patriotism in order, presumably, to increase interest in joining the Army. So the initial protest by Kaepernick, if this money transaction was still going on, could certainly be translated or certainly be construed as detrimental to the arrangement. But now that we're seeing this level of participation among the players in the NFL, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with this story moving forward.